Hockey's back, baby. Let's go.
I think that's the goal there, to be honest. That hockey was phenomenal. All right, Phil Kessel is a Stanley Cup champion once again. And hey, Bruce, there it is. Bruce, there it was. At least it wasn't Adam Fox.
It's two juggernauts just colliding with each other. What?
Weird.
Now we have to deal with another generational talent in Chicago. Root. Boom! Welcome back to the Puck and Stuff podcast. I am your co-host B-Dog, and this is my co-host right beside me, T-Dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Guys.
Yes, sir.
Guys, welcome to the trade deadline recap episode. As you can tell, the trade deadline happened a few days ago, and now we're here to go through everything.
It sure did, and I need you to give me one facial expression to describe the entirety of the trade deadline. That was kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking,
God damn it, Vegas.
Trade deadline has come like Christmas and left like Christmas. A lot has happened, and I was saying this to you before we started this whole pod. To me, this has solidified which teams are going for the cup and which teams are... They know they should retool. Like this team, for example. We'll get into that later. But
I think that's a full-on rebuild over there, my dude.
Greer is doing something. And let me tell you, if it works out, we're all stupid. But if it doesn't work out, we're all geniuses, and all of us armchair GMs should be general managers for hockey teams. That's what I think. So
yeah, honestly.
I mean, hey, there's so much stuff to talk about. Might as well just get right into it, eh?
Yeah, I think so. We're actually going to start 2 days before the trade deadline as the first trades pops off. Anthony Mantha is heading to Vegas as they make a deal with the Capitals for a 2024 second-round pick and a 2026 fourth-round pick. So first deal off the board, and you know what Vegas's intentions are, as we'll get into sooner. But yeah, Anthony Mantha, I think, is still a solid veteran player in this league for sure. And he'll definitely add a lot of power forward to that top six of Vegas, which just keeps looking more and more deadly and pissing off more fans. So that's all I could really start off with for now.
50% retained too, so you're going to see a little bit of a pattern here. A lot of retainment. And I think that does... One, it has to do with, the player's contract that's most likely going up itself in the next year. A lot of UFAs in this trade deadline, but as well too, I think with the cap going up, people are wanting to kind of retain a little more, see what they can kind of get. I mean, a second and a fourth for retaining, you retain 50%, and you got a second and a fourth.
They couldn't give any first round picks, man.
I don't know, man. Well, yeah, I'm glad they didn't give a first round pick, so we wouldn't have got that first round pick, right? So
yeah, exactly. So.
That's how I see it. But Capitals, boys, gotta give it to Vegas, man. I mean, cap circumvention winning again, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I see it.
Let's just, Mark Stone, long-term injury. He's getting ready for playoffs.
Next trade. Florida Panthers acquire Vladimir Tarasenko from the Ottawa Senators. 50% retained. Here's the pattern again.
Yes.
In exchange for a conditional fourth-round pick in 2024, and the Senators also receive the 2025 third-round pick. The condition is upgraded to a 2026 third round if Florida wins the Stanley Cup in 2023-2024. So I'm not going to try and think about this trade from how we saw the Flames game today, but Tarasenko already looks much more confident, much more happy in a place like Florida than Ottawa.
I mean, who wouldn't? Because you're moving to Florida instead of Ottawa. I think every player is happy that they're not getting taxed up the ass alone from that move. But I think realistically, this is still a great move for Florida, adding depth to the lineup as we do get closer to playoffs. And a guy like Tarasenko, he's won a cup with St. Louis, and dude still got a shot and can play hard. And he knows what it takes to get to that promised land as Florida did last year alone. So I think this fits perfect on in their sense. And again, third round picks and fourth round picks. It's still kind of shocking to get a guy like Tarasenko for just pennies worth, basically.
Yeah, but man, does this make Florida even better?
Yeah,
You
really.
know, they're the best team in the league right now and already an offensive powerhouse, you know, especially with players like Reinhardt having their best season of all time. Then you had Tarasenko. This is what Florida, if Florida had, you know, this sort of depth, forget the injuries. The injuries were a big part too, but if Florida had this depth last season, I don't think the series goes to 5 games, you know? I'm starting to really think that possibly that we're getting a Florida Vegas round 2 here.
Oh, dude, that's going to be crazy. Actually, you know what? The more I look at Tarasenko this year, I'm kind of shocked it was just a fourth and a third. With Ottawa, he played 57 games and put up 41 points with 17 goals and 24 assists, had a plus minus of 13. This is
Yeah,
actually
well, I
one
mean,
of his better years.
he had a plus 13 on a Senators team that is this year's Senators team.
Seriously?
That's something to think about.
Dude, and just for a fourth
Ottawa
and a third?
puts a lot in. Yeah,
Oh,
you
this
know,
is already concerning. Oh boy.
I think honestly, a lot of it is this. It's these teams that are selling. They need the cap space. They want to get rid of the majority of this cap so that they're able to alleviate some spots open for young players, the draft picks and things like that.
Yeah.
But I also think too, and maybe we'll get into this more or less down the road with some other trades. I think a lot of these players did Tarasenko have a no movement? I don't know, but that seems to put a lot of stress on managers too, that these players don't just want to go anywhere. Like they have specific things and then they're kind of tied down there and then there's not as much leverage.
Yeah.
So that might be something as well. But yeah, I mean, overall, great trade. I think Florida probably just wins this because I think it helps exactly what they need. And I mean, Ottawa, they're getting picks, but you wish you could get a little higher pick, a little higher of a pick there. Colorado Avalanche acquired from the Philadelphia Flyers defenseman Sean Walker and a 2026 fifth round pick in exchange for Ryan Johansson and a 2025 first round pick conditional. The condition is top 10 protected. No retainment on this one. Man, young defenseman and Sean Walker. You're replacing a certain defenseman that we'll get into in a second as well. Young guy too, a great cap hit, and I think Philly will miss him. But yeah, I think honestly, I see this as a Colorado win, just because he's younger and Johansson hasn't been what he usually is. He is getting older, but hey, Philly gets a little bit of veteranship too. So if they do make playoffs, there you go, someone who has some experience there.
Actually, you know what? The more I look at Sean Walker, he's actually a pretty productive defenseman, especially this year, as with the Philadelphia Flyers in 63 games, he did put up 22 points, which is starting to look like it could potentially break his career high, which is 24, and he does have a plus minus of 9. So obviously, with a team like Philly, he did produce very well, and I can't imagine actually seeing that with Colorado because, again, crazy freaking team alone with Nathan McKinnon having a crazy year and then having Cale Makar and Devon Taves on top as well. It really does help defensively. And yeah, I guess Philly gets a first round pick. And Ryan Johansson just for John Tortorella.
His favorite. Yeah, I was honestly thinking, like, I'm thinking, like, Edmonton, like, why don't you pick up a guy like Walker and Nick Seeler? You know, maybe they tried to and didn't, but I thought that that would kind of fit the bill for Edmonton because you have these young defensemen, and even if you don't, do something this year, at least you guys got a young guy signed up. Probably is the cap.
Yeah.
Probably retention is probably it too. But ultimately, great deal for Colorado, especially because so this trade actually pissed me off as a Flames fan because we were wanting to trade a Lindholm to this team and we would highway robbery. This was a hockey trade, probably the first hockey trade in this trade deadline. But the Buffalo Sabres acquired defenseman Bowen Byram in exchange for just Casey Middlestat. And
Nothing
holy
else.
trade. And I think right now as it stands, I think Buffalo wins this trade. All right, because Byram, he's got a lot of potential. Middleset does have that too, but he just hasn't perform to his abilities. He's had a much better season this year, yes. But Buffalo has a lot of players who play the same role as Middlestat, right? You have your Dylan Cozens, you have your Tage Thompson. So get some more. I mean, the defense. The funny thing about, if I'm correct, they're all left shot D now. Like I'm pretty sure their top 6 D are all left shots. So that's something to think about. But
Crazy actually to think
looks
about.
pretty good now. Darlene, Power, and Byram, some young studs there, man.
Yeah.
I'm jealous, man. Great trade.
I mean, yeah, I think it could really work well both ways, but I think this trade in time will decide realistically who wins it. But yeah, that's all I really got for this one.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Kenny Money is up to bat, and boy, did he. It was a good trade. I'm not even going to say he swung it out of the park, but I think it fits some of the needs that Edmonton did need. So this is a 3-way trade. Edmonton receives Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick from the Anaheim Ducks. These puppies are 50% retained, as well to a 2024 seventh round pick, sorry, from Anaheim, as well to signing rights to a AHLer and Ty Taylor.
Yep.
Anaheim in this end, they're gonna get Edmonton's 2024 first, which I mean, and I feel to me personally, the whole time during this deadline, I thought, okay, where are they gonna put this first? So you know that Edmonton's not gonna use their first, or not going to have their first, and sure enough, they're not. So it goes to Anaheim. Also, they get a 2025 fifth round pick. It's a conditional, and if Edmonton wins the cup, that's funny. It upgrades to a fourth. So, so good luck with Vegas. And so that's what happens. Some retainment will be given to Tampa. Tampa retains 50% of Henrique. They get a fourth conditional 2025 from Edmonton, and this condition is if the Edmonton wins the Stanley Cup. Good luck with Vegas. Then it'll change to a 2026 fourth round. Now, all jokes aside, Edmonton's forward depth, center depth, man. They have like 7 players who can play center now.
That's
It's
absolutely
actually crazy, bro. And it hasn't shown much with the 2 games they played. They've lost both, but man, I mean, this is what you need to do for playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. I think honestly, adding a lot of veteran leadership in that lineup for sure, especially after this trade. Adam Henrique, in 60 games with the Anaheim Ducks, he put up 42 points. And honestly, dude, that's a great third line center alone on a team, especially going into the playoffs. So you gotta give a lot of credit to Edmonton and making that trade for him. Maybe you could have gone defensively trading wise too with Edmonton's sense, but still, man, adding Adam Henrique as your third center is really nice to go down the line, especially into playoffs with. So adding some veteran leadership going in the playoffs never hurts. So I'll give Edmonton the win on that.
Sam Carrick, too, is a pretty physical guy. He's already fought. And
Yeah.
I didn't actually know that he was a fighter until I saw that, but yeah, you're getting more physical presence. Now you have that and Corey Perry and Vander Kane mucking it up.
Oh boy.
So I mean, Edmonton is trying to get ready here. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a win right now. And to me, it's a win in the sense that I think if you're a hockey team, you get pieces that you need and don't overdo it. Because I think if you overdo it, that might mess up chemistry and actually affect you in the short term.
Yeah.
Long term is different, of course, right? Because eventually you will get the team to gel together. But how many times do we see that happen where a team gets a player and they don't gel well in the playoffs simply because they've only played with the team for how many months?
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? By the Stanley Cup final, they're pretty good. If they make the Stanley Cup final. Yeah.
Look at Vegas. That's what I'm saying. You know, Calgary's not making that final spot, bro.
Oh,
That
no.
wild card, bro.
Yo, bro, the memes right now showing against Vegas, everyone pleading them to drop out of that wild card is freaking hilarious, bro.
This deal, you're gonna have to give me some stats here because I don't actually know what his stats are. But Alexander Wenberg is going to, or is it Venberg? I don't know.
I think it's Winbug.
But he's going to New York. 50% retained. Oh, it's there again, baby.
Oh,
Do you want to know? Okay, can you guess the 2 picks?
a third and a
Going to
fourth.
Seattle? Second and a fourth. It's a conditional fourth.
Oh,
The conditional follows a previous trade with if Nils Lindquist earns. This is crazy. This happened with the last Nils Lindquist trade. If Nils Lundqvist earns 55 cumulative points over the 2023 and 2024, 2022, 2023, 2023, 2024 regular seasons, the 2 seasons, the pick upgrades to Dallas's 2025 third round pick. Oh, so maybe there will be a third round pick in this thing. That's crazy.
I might have been
So,
right.
I mean, okay. So New York is right getting a little bit of forward depth there. Losing it because of losing Kane and Tarasenko plus um I think they lost Bertrand last season, right? Too. Um
I
and
think so.
getting that with Wemberg. Again, I don't really know Wemberg too much. I'll be honest with you here. But I
Okay,
know that
well,
he was a high value player to get, especially when Seattle got him from Columbus, and two, that he was a much desirable top six player for Seattle, and he had a lot of upside to him.
yeah, so we look at Wemberg, 29 years old. He played 3 seasons with the Kraken. This season, he played 60 games and had 25 points. Actually, his lowest point year with the Kraken, as the years before, he had 38 points and 37. So that kind of tells the tale with the Kraken that he was kind of just outside the top six. You could put him as a third, fourth liner for sure. But I mean, he's kind of declining a little bit, which is concerning. I don't know how this will fit with the Rangers. Maybe he will pick it back up being on like in New York. It could potentially happen, but I really thought that New York would kind of push to maybe up their defense personally. But you know what? Still, a veteran presence like Wimberg never hurts down the line in playoffs. It really doesn't, even with you noticing the decrease in points. So maybe it works. He really doesn't have playoff experience, so I don't love it. Maybe you could have went for someone else.
Is Wemberg? I can't remember. Is Wemberg a center?
Yes, he is. So he
Yeah.
would
So I
probably
mean,
be their third or fourth line center.
yeah. So I'm wrong. Sorbo was playing top six. He would be playing top nine instead. But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So the fun trade. All right. Here we go. For you Flames fans out there. All right. So Calgary finally traded Noah Hannafin. Dude, let me tell you, man. I was waiting so long for this trade to happen. It drops, and it takes over an hour to figure out the details. So I'm walking the dog, and I'm legit checking my phone like every minute, and nothing until later. But I guess we'll get the opinion on this, man. Okay, here we go. So Noah Hannafin, he goes to Vegas. Vegas Golden Knights.
Vegas. So sad.
50% retained, man. Come on. I hate this. I hate this so much. So, as well too, um,
Woo.
they also get the signing rights to a prospect, Philadelphia. This was a three-way trade to Mikhail Vorobyov. Flyers are retaining 50% of the Hanifin contract,
Oh boy.
and Vegas gives them a 2024 fifth-round pick for this. Here's Calgary's return. They get a third-round pick, 2024 conditional, a 2020. It was a 2025 first-round pick conditional, but now it'll be a 2026 because Vegas did the thing that was supposed to happen, which was get another deal, sell their 2025 before the end of the deadline. The other condition was the 2025 upgrades to a second Vegas if they win the first round of the playoffs. They get there. So there. And then the player that we get is a defenseman in Daniil Miramonov.
Well, we definitely have to Google search that.
So we saw Miramonov play tonight against Florida.
Okay.
I didn't hate his game. It's one game. You get destroyed by Florida, the best team in the league. More or less the third. First two periods were tied. Um, I'm disappointed in the sense. Excuse me. I thought we were gonna get more, but Frank Saravalli was saying this weeks before Hannafin did get traded. Don't expect too much. Like you're probably going to be disappointed in what happens. And I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean, I'm glad to get the first, but I just think with how Hannafin's caliber, I mean, and Vegas is most likely going to resign him anyways. I thought we could get a little more. Answer for me this right now. Is
Okay.
Hannafin getting booed on Thursday when Vegas comes to town?
Oh boy. Yeah, probably. I could low key see it. I don't know
Because
why, but I could see it.
no, the reason being because him and his agent kind of tied the Flames up. This dude didn't even have a no movement clause, but they were picky where he wanted to go. So of course, initially everyone's thinking, well, he's going to Tampa. Okay, what are we gonna get for Tampa? We're all saying, hopefully not the 2026 pick. Funny, now we're gonna get it at 2026 first. But it goes to Vegas instead, right? So it's tough, man. I mean, I'm salty because this was inevitable, and I thought we would get a little more. Maybe we were spoiled from the Lindholm trade. Um, but now Vegas has probably the third pairing defenseman in the league.
Yeah,
Second pair,
honestly,
sorry,
that
best second pairing defenseman in the league. Yeah.
so I think every NHL fan was not a big fan of Vegas, especially after this trade alone so far. And you know what? It was a lot for I mean, the whole trade itself was a lot to just take in. And I probably could have, I mean, it probably bugged a lot of Flames fans to hear that Hannafin's agent was getting really involved in the trade. And to be honest, that probably is the reason why we kind of got the return we did, which does hurt. But we do look at the defenseman Mironov. And so he played the 2023-2024 season with Vegas. He played 4 games with no points, but he was in the AHL before that, and he played 31 games and put up 22 points. So there is that potential that he could be a productive defenseman. There is. It's there. He's only 26. So we still are on the idea that Conroy wants to go younger, which is great for this team. He actually, this year alone, 5 games, he put up 6 points. So that does tell he does have that potential of being a productive defenseman points wise, which is good because we literally just had a career year Hannafin, which we sadly had to get rid of. But to be honest, we had no choice. And hmm, okay, there's actually something I saw a little bit ago, and one of there's a Calgary Flames poster, and he basically showed us the additions that Conroy got us compared to what we gave up. And when you compare them, we got a whole buttload of new forwards and defensemen and prospects, and basically a whole new draft class. So
Which, yeah,
if you're a Flames fan, like complaining about this, you still got the first round pick. You could potentially still get a second round pick if they make it to make it past the first round, which is a first and a second, and you get a young defenseman. That is what we wanted as Flames fans. You guys were complaining about getting a first round for Tanev. You still got the second and a prospect. You're still getting younger and more picks. I think that's what we wanted. That's what we complained about. And sure, we didn't get what we wanted for Hannafin compared to what we did to Lindholm. Fair enough. But you also got to realize two key different players in that sense. And again, you still got a first out of it. And I'm happy with the trade. I think like you said, we could have gone a lot more, but we're set for the future on prospects and picks. And we now enter the next offseason with no players exiting for free into a free agency. That's what we wanted as Flames fans. So if anyone else is complaining, oh well, that sucks because we got what we needed. We got the toxic out. That's what we wanted. So if anyone else is complaining, I don't know what else you want from this team because, dude, I'm ready for the tank. Bring it on.
yes, sir. Take for
Yes, sir.
McDavid. Oh, are we like 7 years late? Oops.
Whoops.
No, you're right. Like, okay, so I am disappointed in the sense that I think I was getting my hopes up, right? You see that Lindholm trade and you think, well, like, look at Hannafin's value. You gotta get something from him. But yeah, so I've been praising this the whole time. The fact that Conroy said he was gonna do something and it's been happening. Get the team younger and it's happening. We're set up on picks and young players down the pipeline. Not
Yeah.
just on the team, but on the Wranglers as well. And it's like, when's the last time the Flames did that? The Flames never did this properly when they got let go of Iggy. Iggy got you nothing. Kipper retired, right? And it's like this is almost due diligence in a sense from that when it happened with Gaudreau and Kachuk, right? Like
Yeah.
Kachuk, you got the return, but like Gaudreau, you didn't. And so, can we really complain? I mean, we got nothing from Johnny,
Yeah, we
right?
we
So,
got something out of this. That's what I'm
I
trying
mean,
to make the point of.
no, for sure. And I definitely am like mad at the fact that it had to be freaking Vegas that got it. But
Yeah.
yeah, the amount of picks that we got, and the best part of it too is if there's something out there that you want to look for, you got picks to just send off. You don't have to go and let go of your young guys. Like, you know what? This is great. The team is going to be in a retail mode, and if all things work in a positive manner, by the time you get that new arena, you should be competitive. So, all right, here's a trip we can talk about too. So,
Ooh.
Tampa Bay Lightning are going to get Anthony Duclair and a 2025 seventh round pick from San Jose in exchange. The Sharks get Jack Thompson signing rights and 2024 third. So this is the pattern I've noticed with San Jose this year with the trade deadline. You're not getting a lot in return. Like, yeah, you're getting rid of the cap, but you're not getting a lot in return.
Yeah, I would definitely say that for sure. But dude, I actually love this for Tampa because we look at Anthony Duclair, 28 years old, so he's in prime mode. This year with San Jose, he put up 50 or with oh my god, sorry. With San Jose this year, he played 56 games and put up 27 points, which is actually not as bad as you think for how the situation in San Jose is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll give him that. But the reason why I love this for Tampa is because what Duclair did for Florida last year in the playoffs was, I think personally, a big part on how they made it to the finals. Because for teams to make playoffs, you do have to rely on your depth players. And I think Duclair was one of the biggest parts in that for the Florida run because in 20 games, he put up 11 points. That is impressive. And we as we're talking about Tampa right now, a lot of people are kind of on the edge of, do you really think this team is still got some left in the tank for another cup run? And dude, I'm telling you not to sleep on them because, dude,
No.
adding a piece like Duclair to this actually makes Tampa really deadly down the line.
And he's probably so Daily Faceoff has him playing with Sorelli and Stamkos on the second line.
Oh, dude, if he plays
So,
with Stamkos, that could be dirty.
right, if he can pass the puck or shoot too, like Stamkos can pass as well, that's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. So
Oh boy, oh boy,
Kyle Davis, my man.
mommy.
Carolina Hurricanes win the Jake Gensel sweepstakes, 25% retained, and signing rights to Ty Smith. Sorry, not signing rights, but Ty Smith. In exchange, the Penguins get Leafs legend Michael Bunting. There you go, Dubas, getting your Leaf guy again. Vasily Ponomarev as well is going to the Penguins. Apparently, he's one of the Canes' better prospects, so that actually might be a win in the long run. Cruz Lucius signing rights there, Koivunen, and then they're getting a conditional second round pick and a conditional fifth round. The conditions is the second will go to a first if Carolina makes it to the finals. And the conditions that Pittsburgh will receive this pick if Carolina wins the 2024. Okay, so both will be 2024 Stanley Cup, but the fifth will only be guaranteed if Canes win the cup. Such a W from Carolina here. Crosby is pissed. When is Crosby getting traded to Colorado? That's my question for you, bro.
Honestly, you could see it probably next trade deadline. Let's see how Pittsburgh does next season for sure. But honestly, big W for Carolina here. I think realistically, there had to be a year where Carolina just said, screw it, we're going all in for playoffs. And adding a guy like Jake Gensel is not a bad piece to add. In 50 games, he has 52 points with 22 goals and 30 assists. So over a point per game player in Gensel this year, where he did have injury problems at the beginning of the season, which is why obviously his games are low. But dude, overall, just for Jake Gensel, only giving up potentially a second and a fifth is a freaking steal. And yeah, Michael Bunting is still a solid second line winger. But compared to what Gensel is, it's not even close. And dude, I feel bad for Crosby. I feel so bad. He lost his
Yeah.
best winger partner probably ever had.
For
Oh,
him
that
and
really hurt.
he has Riley Smith. I mean, I'll take that. Um,
Yo, Carolina, you might actually
Yeah.
make a final.
Yeah, we're like biz here, man. Like, you have like 12 picks to make the finals now. It's the only
Dude,
thing.
dude, yo,
Really
low
hard.
key, I think Carolina cranked this because they also did get Ty Smith in this sense, which would probably be like a depth defenseman down the line. But dude, still, like realistically, not giving up a first until you win the cup. And like, dude, just prospects and Michael Bunting. Really? For
That's
Gensel.
crazy.
That's crazy. And
That is
it is
wow.
kind of funny though. I also gotta add it is kind of funny that like Kyle Dubas wanted Bunting back.
I know. Hey, is
That's
this a
crazy.
fleece? Like, I don't know if I consider this a fleece because I don't know if I can say fleece until you see what the prospects turn out to be. But I mean, like,
For
no,
right now, fleeced.
I'll say it
First
is.
fleeced alert.
You literally have the money retained. You're switching the money out for Gensel over Bunting. Like, I don't know, man. Even if it's for one season, for the rest of the season, like, I don't know. That makes Carolina scary. And yeah, that was something. Honestly, like, kind of hearing that was one of those trades where I was kind of waiting to see and curious where he'd go because you heard a lot of things, especially like even maybe Lindholm goes to Boston in a three-way trade that Gensel does come to Vancouver instead, but that did not happen. But
Yeah.
man, good for Carolina. Something to look out for.
That is one way to piss off a fan base. I
Okay,
that's what I gotta say.
yeah. Speaking of Carolina, let's quickly go over that Kuznetsov trade. 50% retained, because always has to happen. And Capitals get a third round pick. So isn't this crazy? Like, are we growing up or what? Because Kuznetsov was an absolute stud in 2018,
Yeah.
and he's now shipped off for a third. What a downfall,
Dude.
man. What a
Dude,
downfall.
I remember Kuznetsov in 2018 against Pittsburgh. It was game 7 in OT, and he was on the breakaway to finally slay
Yeah,
the Dragon in Pittsburgh
that
and move
goal
on
was
to the
so
third
good.
round against Tampa. And now he's getting sent off for just a third. Well, because you know what was funny? Before this trade, he got sent down to the AHL to
He
play with
did,
their
yeah.
team. And then he was probably like, no, send me somewhere else. Like, dude, that is damn.
I mean, him going to a new team, it could revive something, right? It's very possible.
Yeah, like I honestly, we kind of figure out what Washington is doing this offseason. So great.
Okay, so we won the Sharon Govich trade, by the way. Tyler Toffoli is going to the Winnipeg Jets, 50% retained in exchange for a third and a second round pick from Winnipeg. Um,
Huh.
wow. Isn't it amazing what happens? So, New Jersey comes into the season, right? They're stacking themselves up with this, getting Timo Meyer to make a splash and get a good seeding in the playoffs. And now they're nowhere near the playoff line. And they're not playing where they should be. And now they have to trade Tyler Toffoli. And that sucks because they probably didn't want to do it, but Winnipeg's getting a player, man. And after watching this Canucks game, um, they might need Toffoli here soon if they're gonna lack some scoring some days.
I mean, dude, that could definitely fill in a goal scoring gap in Winnipeg. As we look at Tyler Toffoli, obviously he does have the veteran experience being around his 30s, and we move and his stats for this season with the New Jersey Devils in 61 games, he put up 44 points with 26 goals. So he's looking probably gonna break the 30 goal mark. And dude still got enough in the tank. And I
Sharon
also gotta
Govich has as
mention,
many goals.
yes, sure. We won
Crazy.
that. We won that trade. We 100% won that trade. But I also do want to add that Tyler Toffoli has played for every Canadian team except Edmonton and Toronto. He played for Vancouver. He's played for Montreal. He's played for Calgary. He's played for Winnipeg. That's pretty crazy.
Getting the Infinity Stones, eh? Yeah.
Oh,
Soon we'll be an
bro.
Oiler. Yeah, that's what'll happen when they get bounced out first round there.
Oh,
Um
shit.
yeah, they'll go for Toffoli next offseason. Jeff Jackson special probably. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I think this is a great pickup from the Jets, man. It's just like it's saying, look, we trust this team, right? In the sense that we're just gonna add a few additions, but the primary base of this team, let's go get it, right? We got a goalie. You got some defense, right? You got some forward depth now, and it's cool seeing some Flames reunite there too with Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what I really hope, with all these teams stacking up, I just hope that a team like Winnipeg can make it out in the sense that it'd be cool, man. Not just story wise, but I mean, this is a team that's gonna have to win with grit, man,
Yeah.
and perseverance. Like, they're gonna have to work their butts off. So
Especially when you really look at Winnipeg too, especially just with the year they're having after the Dubois trade, and now you're hearing all these allegations that potentially that Winnipeg's attendance is too low and could potentially be moved again. So honestly,
Arizona
dude,
not though.
this is the playoff. This is the year in playoffs for Winnipeg to just say, you know what, we need a final, like we need a run to a final soon. It better come sooner rather than later, or you will potentially be end up moving. And you know what?
Yeah.
I don't want to lose Winnipeg. It's nice to
No,
have
me
Winnipeg
either.
as a team.
It would be nice, and I honestly like they're a team I'd root for easily. Like I want a Canadian team, man, and Winnipeg is one of those teams that they deserve it. Fan base deserves
Dude,
it,
if
and
Winnipeg is the first team in
boy can hope.
30 years to finally win it, that would be great.
Yeah.
Out of everyone there.
Oh, for sure. Like honestly, like if Toffoli can just even give 50% of what he gave to New Jersey, like I think that's still a win for Winnipeg because a few extra goals there, man. You need it, especially games if you're getting blown out like 5-0 loss tonight.
That would,
Yeah, that's what I have to say about it. All
yeah.
right, next trade here. Boston's getting the big rig, Patrick Maroon. A little bit of, I guess, is this the Lucic replacement
Probably, yeah, I would say.
in exchange? Minnesota's getting Luke Toporowski and 2026 6th-round pick. The conditional is transfer to Minnesota if Maroon plays one game in the 2023-2024 playoffs. That's kind of
Oh.
funny.
You know what though?
Um,
When you have a guy like Patrick Maroon on your team during
he's
playoff
won 4
time,
cups, by the way.
you have a pretty good damn chance of winning a cup. A lot better than
Or
having Corey Perry on that damn team. He's won
wait,
three. He's won
3.
three.
Sorry, not 4. I'm thinking no.
St. Louis, Tampa, Tampa.
Tampa. Yeah, yeah. 3
There we go.
straight years. Like it was all him, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Uh,
If he's in that lineup for Boston throughout maybe the whole playoffs, I think they might win it. Like
that'd be
I'm
pretty.
low key being serious.
That'd be pretty
I
fun.
mean, in 49 games with Minnesota, he put up 16 points,
Eh,
especially on a fourth line. That's not as bad as you
dude.
think.
I mean, that's crazy because Trenton had less, and I've been hyping up Trenton. That's something. Um, the
I
only
put
thing about
Maroon.
Boston that worries me is their center depth, but still, like Zaka has taken that first line center role, and he's absolutely thrived with it. Like Zaka is kind of a bit of a stud, man.
Yeah, I
So maybe he's just putting players in certain positions and it works out. We'll see what happens with Boston, but hey, they get some grit with Patrick Maroon.
actually
Next trade.
there's actually one more thing I did want to add on to Boston, which is kind of shocking that this is their only move. There is a rumor going on right now that there was a supposed to be a trade involving Allmark, but he declined.
Yeah.
So I just mentioned that Boston could have potentially had a bigger trade deadline if Allmark didn't decline that trade.
So Devils figure out a solution to their goalie problems by literally just doing Jake Allen goes to the Devils, 50% retained and return a 2025 third round pick. I like this deal for Montreal because I was agreeing with the fact or the sentiment that their tandem should be Caden Primo and Sam Montembeau. And I think it's the correct way. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if Allen is, Markstrom-esque, but it's some sort of a help.
So as we talk about this, it's kind of funny because I think if you were a Devils fan going into the trade deadline, you were expecting them to get you a goaltender. And you heard rumors of Markstrom first, then you heard rumors of Allmark, then you heard rumors of Soros, and things were heating up basically for those three goaltenders. And then we get it, and it's Jake Allen. Jake Allen this year with this year with Montreal, he had a goals against average of 3.65 and a save percentage of 892. So nothing impressive, nothing great in 21 games played. So you got yourself a new goalie. It's not Vanacek anymore. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, good to keep Dawes, of course, and Akira Schmid, right? So some young guys, and so maybe Allen helps out with being a veteran role to them and a little bit of a mentor.
But
Devils, my goodness, I don't know, I don't know. If you're a Devils fan, comment down below how you're feeling, because I don't even know
you guys
what I
are
think.
great.
It's what a season. Lightning wanted some defensemen, especially since Sergachev is injured. They got one, Matt Dumba. Get full retain there. Well, sorry, they pay the full thing and get a 2025 seventh round pick in exchange. Arizona just gets a fifth. So time
Cheap.
to look at good old Tampa's combinations here on the D.
Yeah,
Where
honest. I think Matt Dumba honestly is still a underrated defenseman when you really look at it too, because he's got tons of playoff experience with the Minnesota Wild. This year he went to Arizona and played 58 games with 10 points. This is actually his lowest year, but that's Arizona, so that's kind of fair enough. But adding him to a team like Tampa right now, oh dude, that could really help the defense out.
But now we know that this is the defenseman they're going to get. And see, I mean, for me, I'm not going to say anything about this trade until time will, or I'll say time will tell.
Yeah.
Because I don't really know how to think about Dumba now as he's gotten older. Like, I really did like him in Minnesota. But just as he's gotten older, I think you just kind of see where his skills cap at and see if it helps out with Tampa.
Yeah.
All right, keeping on with the trades. Jack Roslovic is traded from the Columbus Blue Jackets to the New York Rangers, 50% retained, in exchange 2026 fourth round conditional. It upgrades to a third if Rangers make to the Stanley Cup final, and Roslovic plays 50% of those games. More depth. Can't think too much of it. I think Roslovic had a bit of a role to play for, say, in Columbus. Don't know what his role would be in New York.
Honestly, I could see him potentially going into the third line as well. I think this is a little bit more of an upgrade than I think Wenberg was personally, in my opinion. 27 years old. He played with Columbus for 4 seasons. His career high year with them is 45 points in the 2021-2022 season. With 40 games played, he put up 23 points this year. I see him probably fitting on the Rangers lineup better than Wenberg, in my personal opinion. They could potentially be line mates. So that going down the line could help them, especially he
I
does
think
have 3 years of playoff
I
experience.
think you're right. They had him playing with Zibanejad and Kreider on the first line.
Ooh,
Wow. So
wow.
yeah, my apologies, guys. That's me not doing my research here, but Rozovic already has a part to play with this team. Of course, it makes sense why you would keep Lafreniere, down on the second line, right? Keeping him seems like he's played well with the young kids plus Trocheck and Panarin. Heedle's injured, so the young kids line can't be fully addressed as now, but shall we talk about goalies? Let's talk about goalies.
Let's
Okay.
talk about goalies.
So Vitek Vanacek is no longer a Devil. He goes to the San Jose Sharks. And in return, Capo Kakinen. Can you tell me how old Capo Kakinen is, please?
He is 27 years old.
So he's older than I
So he's
thought.
prime.
But I I mean, I guess this is the problem. Oh, sorry. A 2025 seventh round pick also goes to San Jose. But I I don't really get this for I get this for New Jersey, but I don't get this for San Jose. I like
Hmm.
I don't know. Like you're willing to take this on?
I
I
mean,
don't know.
that okay, realistically both ways, I think the Devils are getting a minor upgrade, not a crazy upgrade, and getting rid of Vanacek. Their stats are actually pretty similar as we look at the other goalie. With 31 games played, he has a goals against average of 3.81, which isn't pretty, almost 4 goals a game. And he has a save percentage of 895, so just under 900, so not terrible. But it could be, it's a minor upgrade. They completely switched up the goaltending tandem.
I have always wondered what Kakinen would look like on a team who's that's a little more competent. Not that New Jersey is a playoff contending team, but they have the ability to be a playoff contending team. So maybe Kakinen plays a little better. So I'm actually excited to see how Kakinen does. Poor Vanacek, he's banished to the Shadow Realm. So Him and Mackenzie Blackwood and Cooley can fight it out there and see who gets top spot. But
Who
New
really
Jersey
wants?
had to do something, man. I mean, New Jersey has not gotten goaltending.
Yeah.
Um, honestly, Jack Hughes, bro, I pay to see New Jersey goaltending suffer.
Well, they haven't been the same since Brodeur, so
Sin-
they had some really good years with Brodeur, so they get
I
that.
yeah, I would love to get more into San Jose here because you ready for the next trade?
The biggest trade in 2 minutes left.
So
Oh
this one
damn.
happens at the end, and I'm watching this, and hear it, and then I say no out loud, probably about 4 times. I was
No!
not out loud.
No! No!
I was not. I was like, no. I'm like, why? Vegas, of course you do. So okay, San Jose trades Tomas Hertl, 17.1% retained. They.
Still $6.7 million contract.
I'm just gonna leave it at that right there. So Tomas Hertl, right, gets traded. There's a first round involved. That first round is a 2025 goes to Vegas. This means that Calgary will get the 2026 first round pick
Yeah.
from Vegas. Then San Jose gets Vegas's prospect in David Edstrom, which I actually think Edstrom has a lot of upside. So we'll see how that works. So Vegas is going to be scary. Bar none, I think as much as they're struggling, let them heal up. They're going to make it to the playoffs. There's no doubt about it in my mind. This is going to be Vancouver's thank you for being first in the West. Is Vegas, yeah?
Yeah.
Who could they have to play?
Oh,
It's
who's it
stacked.
looking like right
Now,
now? Edmonton, LA. Who else? Oh, dude, I need to look
but
at.
most likely they're going to have to probably play Vegas because Vegas right now is second in the wild card.
Yeah.
And if that happens, does Vancouver want to play a team that has a forward grouping of Barbashev, Eichel, Marchessault, Dorofeyev,
Oh,
Stevenson, Mantha, Brendan Brisson, William Karlsson, Michael Amadio, Paul Cotto, Nick Waugh, Keegan Colasar? That is without an injured list of, by the way, who's on the injured reserve: Mark Stone, Brett Howden, William Carrier, defenseman Alex Martinez, and Tomas Hertl.
dude, that's at least 10 million in dead cap.
Dude, a whole line is injured.
Actually, no, that would be like 15 million in dead cap, actually, because I
It's
realized,
crazy.
dude, that is actually nuts.
Does IR count or just LTIR?
I think it's LTR.
So right now LTIR is just Mark Stone and Robin Lehner, so that's $14.5 million.
Dude,
But
dude, yo, low key, Vancouver could get a first round exit if they verse Vegas.
yes,
Oh my
yes,
god.
very much so. And when we were just taking a break quickly, I was listening to the after hours after the game, and Bex is like, "Isn't that great how Vancouver's going to be rewarded with Vegas most likely for the first round?" Yeah,
With a healthy Mark Stone in the first game. Oh my god, dude. Dude, I think Vancouver fans are their pants right now if that happens.
I mean, they
My
don't care, man. They're
god.
just glad their team can actually make the playoffs right now. Like, I don't blame them. Like, have
I
some
mean,
fun with it.
fair.
But dude, think about that. The team right now without those players on the injured reserve is not terrible. I mean, they can still win some games, but it's like, are you kidding me? Pretty much your whole pretty much like 33% of your first line is gone,
Yeah.
and your second line, right? Like, I mean, they can still play well with their young guys in Brisson and Dorofeyev and Paul Cotter. Like, these guys have played and showed that they can play on in the NHL and sustain minutes and sustain their spot on the roster. This is it, okay. It's all we all know how we think about cap circumvention. It's all BS. This is crazy, man. Vegas is
They're pulling what Tampa did, dude. 16 million over the
yeah.
cap.
Same with Chicago. The thing is, like, I feel like they didn't do it as much, but you
Dude,
know,
I think this almost tops what Tampa did in their trade deadline, dude. It's
100%. This is
close.
crazy.
Okay, so I guess since we
Wow.
finally got through all the trades and we kind of gave our opinions, what is your thoughts on who are the winners and losers of this?
So, I mean, I hate to say this about losers, but like San Jose, like you didn't get anything. Like you got lack of draft capital back for the assets you had. Like, I know that you're kind of put in a position with little leverage because your players that you're trading don't have a contract next season, or the contract is disgusting and it should not have been signed. You didn't get much, man. Um, San Jose to me is the biggest one. I think LA is a loser because they did not do anything. I think they should have gotten something. I think they're lacking a little bit of depth on the forward grouping, especially since you traded it all for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah.
At least Byfield is becoming a stud now, right? So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
nice. But dude, don't they must miss Gabe Velarde so much. I mean, he's injured right now, but
Especially after that. Yeah.
yeah. So I think honestly, LA's a loser for not winners. Vegas is easy. Like, dude, they got Hannafin, Hurdle, and Mantha,
In like a span of
and
2 to 3 days.
all they didn't trade any player off their roster besides prospects in draft capital, which they don't really need because they're cup contenders.
Yeah. For losers in this case, we could definitely say San Jose for sure is a loser. I would definitely say Pittsburgh's a
Yeah.
loser for
Yes, you're
Jake
right.
Gensel reasons.
You're right. Now,
Yeah,
does that make the Canes a winner?
like healthy winner, not like, oh, you won the whole thing, but I would say they're a healthy
Yeah,
winner.
you're right.
Another loser you could say is New Jersey because they were active, but just
Yeah,
not in
good
the
point.
ways not their fans probably didn't want them.
Winnipeg could be a winner too. I think the additions of Colin Miller and Toffoli is pretty nice. Pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Yeah, like so if I had to like kind of like categorize this, I would say the biggest winners you could say Vegas, you could say Florida,
Hmm.
you could confidently say Colorado because they did kind of build up their depth for the playoffs. Teams you could just say like one but not like spectacular are like Winnipeg. Carolina, you can maybe slot them in between that because of Jake Gensel.
Hmm.
What's another team I can really think off the top of my head here? Yeah, Winnipeg. Tampa is a healthy winner. I think adding
Yeah,
Duclair and Dumba actually does help them down the line because I think that was two things they really needed was a winger and a defenseman
for
like
sure.
that.
I agree
Um,
with you. I agree with what you're saying here for
yeah.
sure.
And then I would say maybe a loser. You could say, actually, I would say another healthy, like just win is Edmonton. Edmonton did kind of win
Yeah.
that. You could say Calgary won in the sense of what Conroy is trying to do. You could
That was a
say that.
question I was gonna ask you actually was, the positives we traded everyone we needed to. What's the severity? Big win, good win. Yeah. Mucky middle for say, it's a mucky middle. It was and we lost. Or was it like, oh, we got destroyed? I
Okay.
was
I personally don't think we got destroyed because we got what we needed. We realistically made the roster younger and we got the picks that we needed and that we wanted Conroy to get us. So I don't think it's bad or destroyed. Maybe you can make the case with but I'm going to say win because I was just looking at this. Flames Nation just posted this on their Instagram of what Conroy so far has subtracted from the team and added.
let's
And
see.
it starts off with Sharangovich. It starts off with Kuzmenko. It adds up with the prospects defensive wise. And then listen to this. He got us a 2024 first round pick. He got us a 2024 second round pick, 2024 third round pick that could potentially turn into another second, a 2024 fourth round pick, a 2024 fifth round pick, a 2026 first round pick, 2026 third, or 2/3.
You
He
know
got
what? You're right.
all
In
two draft classes, basically.
in long term, holy! I didn't realize that's how many we got in exchange.
That's what we
You know,
got.
I like how we're swapping out Americans and Swedes for Russians.
I saw that. I've been
Rush.
seeing memes that Conroy likes his Russians more than his Swedes.
You know what? Think about it like this. A lot of teams win the cup, primarily Canadians, with a few Russians and a few Swedes.
Okay, it's either Russians or
Tampa,
WHL players, bro. That's
Tampa.
what it's all about.
Go back to the Calgary thing. You subtract. Okay, think about this. Elias Lindholm, aging, contract going up soon. Toffoli, aging, wanted to sign, but long term probably doesn't work for what we're working for, so we shipped him off. Noah Hannafin doesn't want to be here. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Chris Tanev, injury prone, aging, doesn't really work for what you're looking at. Go. Zadorov doesn't want to be here. Okay, you let him go, and you get rid of that fifth. That's actually crazy what we got.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. So the trades themselves, I think like you could have always gotten more, but this is exactly. I'm just happy and like hats off to you, Conroy, because you have done what you said. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like you can never trust someone when they say something, but his actions back up his words, and I gotta say a round of applause for that.
Well, that's why when we were talking about the Hannafin trade, I kind of wanted to defend him because I looked at that post and I was like, he did exactly what we wanted him to. He brought in youth prospects and picks out of the toxic players that didn't want to be here anymore. And I
Yeah,
tend to give him applause because you know what I even loved more? He came out the other day and during the interview and was asked about the comments Markstrom gave in that situation that he was upset that the trade went the way it was. And him being a former player, he completely understood where Markstrom was coming from. And now that he's the manager, he understands what it takes to like have to trade these guys. And I respect that he came out and did mention
for
something
sure.
about it. And I'm just happy that this guy's my GM right now, dude. Trust the
Oh,
Conroy
for sure.
process.
Trust Connie. I don't know if Markstrom was even referring to Conroy himself. I think he was even referring more upwards
Oh yeah.
because from what we were hearing, it was higher up in ownership that didn't want or nixed that Markstrom trade.
And hey guys, that has been the NHL trade deadline recap from the Puck and Stuff podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We love the support you guys give us on all our channels. Keep it up. We love to see it. T-Dog, get us out of here.
All right, thanks guys for watching, listening, however you consuming this content. Question of the day for you guys: who are the winners? Who are the losers of the trade deadline? We're almost there. 6 more weeks until playoffs, baby. Let's get going. All right, guys. Take care. Have a good one. Drink your water. Time change is happening soon. And you guys have a good one. Peace.
Peace.